Are you having trouble deciding which function to use for your loop? Not sure what a loop is? Look no further. I'll be discussing the differences so that you can make a decision on which one to use in C++. A loop is a shape that bends around and crosses itself. While a loop function reads through a block of code multiple times over, it executes this loop by connecting the end to the beginning through verifying conditionals that are set by the programmer. It's important to note that a loop is not an if-else statement because an if-else statement executes either one block of code or another block of code only once. On the other hand, loop functions are run through as long as the conditions are met. If the conditionals are always met, we run into infinite loops, code that never stops. As long as your conditions are set to where they can reasonably end, this won't be an issue. Three main types of loop functions are for loops, while loops, and do while loops. For loops are basically statements that say, for this, while this, doing this, run this. In the parentheses after for, we have your initialized value here, a conditional for the expression dictating the duration you want, and the incrementation, which moves your value inside of the conditional. Between the brackets is code you want to execute. It will run until the conditional is no longer satisfied. For loops are good for counting exercises or creating an array. So yeah, for these, run this. But this is only really useful if you know the values you're going to use. If you don't know how long you need to run your block of code for, it'll be easier to use a while loop. A while loop has only one conditional, the expression. The program knows that it is supposed to execute the block of code outlined until the single conditional is no longer true. This is good for reading files into a variable and when asking for user input. For loops and while loops are quite similar because they both have conditionals that have to be met before the program is run. Do while loops, on the other hand, are special because they run through a block of code first, no matter what, and then asks if you want to continue by verifying the conditional true or not. If you want your block of code to run at least once, use do while loops. Do while loops are like a toddler who dances, then looks around and sees how people react. The toddler's going to dance, no matter what people do. But then they're going to look around and see how they react. If it's satisfactory, or if the code is true, they continue to dance. If the loop will terminate, or the loop is going to terminate when the conditional is no longer present or satisfactory. So when the toddler's audience is no longer satisfactory, the toddler's going to cease doing their dance. In conclusion, use for loops for a structured function with a known set of values, use a while loop when you don't know the values, and use a do while loop when you want a block of code executed first. You can find more information on Stack Overflow, MDN, which is an amazing website, or simply Google. Thanks for listening.